Hello everyone, how are you all? Welcome to my channel English Lessons by Nupur Bakshi. In the previous video, we had studied about part 1 of chapter The Sound of Music, which was all about Evelyn Glennie. Okay, and in this chapter, which is part 2, the Shehnai of Bismillah Khan, we are going to study how this particular instrument named Shehnai came into existence and how did Ustad Bismillah Khan master it so well that he is considered to be a synonym of the instrument Shehnai. As soon as we think about or we say a word Shehnai, automatically the picture of Ustad Bismillah Khan comes to our mind. So here are a couple of eminent instrumentalists in front of you. First is Pandit Hari Prasad Chaurasia. Now he is an eminent flute player. Then we can see Ustad Zakir Hussain, who is an eminent tabla player. Then Ustad Amjad Ali Khan, he is a very famous sarod player. And then we have obviously Ustad Bismillah Khan. So there are a couple of them which I want you to find the names of and write it in the comments section. Okay, till then let's begin with the chapter. Whenever we think of Shehnai, the first thing that probably we imagine is that there might be some wedding. Okay, there might be some wedding or some similar occasion or a function where this particular music is being played. And then next that we imagine is the picture of Ustad Bismillah Khan, and he is called the Shehnai maestro. Now who is a maestro? A maestro is a person who masters his art so well that nobody else is able to do the magic that he or she is able to do with the instrument. So that person is called a maestro who has mastered his art. And Ustad Bismillah Khan had mastered the playing of Shehnai so well that till today nobody has been able to surpass his capabilities. When we begin the chapter, it tells us about how this particular instrument came into existence. So you all have heard about the Emperor Aurangzeb. Okay, Aurangzeb was a ruler, a Mughal emperor, who banned the playing of an instrument called pungi. Now what is a pungi? Pungi is a reeded instrument. Okay, reeded means it has holes in that particular instrument to take out sounds of different notes. Alright, so similarly there was an instrument called pungi, and he banned this instrument immediately because he found that its voice is very harsh and it does not give a pleasant sound. Okay, and then he completely banned playing of pungi in the royal courts, and he called it reeded noise makers. So reeded, I told you, are wind instruments where you can see different holes at different places, which by opening and closing can produce different kinds of sounds. But Aurangzeb considered it to be a noise making instrument. Okay, so he banned that. Then what happened? He chose. Because it was completely banned, so there was a barber who thought that who came from a family who were very famous musicians, and he thought that since it is banned, let me do something with this instrument to make it a better performer. Okay, so what did he do? He took a long natural hollow pipe. So he did not make it hollow himself. He took a pipe which was naturally hollow, and then he made 7 holes in it. And when by opening and closing of those 7 holes, when he blew air into it, it produced soft and melodious sounds. Okay, and this was so pleasant that he decided to play it in front of the royal community. So he went to the palace and then he said that I have enhanced this instrument pungi, and I have made a different instrument based on the original pungi instrument, and now it is making a very good sound, so why don't you listen to it? And then everybody agreed to it, and when they heard him play, they really liked it, and that is why this instrument was named as Shehnai, because when we break this word into two, you can see that it has sheh and it has nai. Okay, so sheh comes from the word shah, and nai is the Hindi way of saying barber. Okay, a barber is called a nai in Hindi. All right, so when he said that I have made some changes, and since he was a barber, so that is why the name Shehnai, okay, it came into existence. Sheh came from Shah and Nai came from barber. So when it was first played as Shahas, the emperor's chambers, and it was played by a Nai, and that is why it got a name Shehnai. Okay, so I hope you have understood this part. Then you can see the picture of a pungi here, and you can see the picture of Shehnai on the right hand side. So this is the way he took a hollow pipe of this length, okay, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 6 and 7. He made 7 holes in this to make it work properly. Okay, so this way Shehnai came into existence, and then this pungi was completely banned in the royal courts. Okay, the sound of Shehnai began to be considered as auspicious. Okay, so they immediately after it was allowed to be played in the royal chambers, everybody else also started listening to this instrument and they started liking it. And then immediately what happened, it gained so much popularity that a North Indian wedding could not be imagined without the playing of Shehnai. Okay, so in the North Indian weddings till today, Shehnai is played in one or the other ceremony of the wedding. Okay, so all credit goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan, who made it so popular, and not only to weddings and temples, it then was taken to the classical stage. Now what is a classical stage? Classical stage is a stage where people perform in front of a large audience. So classical music can be vocal and instrumental, and Ustad Bismillah Khan introduced Shehnai playing into the classical music. Okay, and people started enjoying listening to Shehnai as a solo instrument. Then the third paragraph says that how Bismillah Khan as a boy started liking music. Okay, so when he was a 5-year-old boy, he used to play gilli danda like any other boy in a village, which was Dumrao in Bihar for him. And then what happened, he would regularly go to the nearby Bihariji temple. So now we will underline this, Dumrao, which is in Bihar, which was his first native village. Okay, his native village. Then when he was 5 years old and when he used to live in Dumrao, he used to regularly visit Bihariji temple, and he used to sing Chaita, which is a Bhojpuri way of singing. Okay, and at the end of which it's considered to be an auspicious singing, and then the Maharaja used to give him a laddu which used to weigh almost 1.25 kgs, and he was obviously he was a small boy and he liked this temptation, and he never missed the opportunity of singing in that nearby Bihariji temple. So this happened, it kept on happening, and from that day till he became 80 years obviously he became his age is almost when he died, he was almost in his 90s. Okay, so many years from the age of 5 to the range of 90s, he did so much for his instrument and for his love for the instrument Shehnai, that it resulted in getting him conferred with the highest civilian award, which is Bharat Ratna. So he was conferred with the Bharat Ratna, and it was the highest recognition that he got, just because of all the hard work and dedication that he showed throughout his life, and the love obviously for the instrument Shehnai. He was born on 21st March in 1916, and he belonged to a family which was already into music. and his father, his grandfather Rasool Baksh Khan, then his father Pigambar Baksh, everybody, they were great Shehnai players. So it's not that immediately he started liking this instrument. He had been listening to this from his grandfather, then he had been listening to this from his father. So from since childhood he had been used to listening to Shehnai, and that is why immediately the next instrument that he took for himself was obviously Shehnai. So then when his mother took him to Banaras when he was still young, he saw that his uncles also, they were always practicing Shehnai. Okay, so his uncles were also practicing Shehnai, and this made him obviously inclined towards this particular instrument. So soon Bismillah Khan, he started accompanying his uncle Ali Baksh to a Vishnu temple of Banaras, and then there he used to sit beside his uncle and listen him play, and he used to watch him, and hours and hours together he used to feel captivated. Now what do you mean by the word captivated? When you are so much attached or so much fascinated or so much attracted towards something that you just are clueless, that you are not able to think about anything else, you get captivated. Okay, all your attention is captured by that particular art or instrument or any other thing which has captivated you. So slowly he started getting lessons, and then he used to sit throughout the day practicing it. Okay, then for years to come, the temple of Balaji and Mangal Maiya at the banks of river Ganga were his favorite place. So you have to remember this this part, that not only river Ganga, but this temple where he used to sit and play, which was Balaji and Mangal Maiya, they both were at the banks of river Ganga, and he used to sit there and practice for hours and hours together, and that flowing sound of the water made him improvise and invent the ragas. So not only the existing ragas, he did a lot of innovation in those ragas, and then he made sure that he contributed something to the quality of music that he was giving to the society. Then he became 14 years old, and then he started accompanying his uncle to the music conference. So once he had accompanied his uncle Ali Baksh to a musical concert, Ustad Fayaz Khan, he is also a very famous musician, and then Ustad Fayaz Khan, when he heard this young boy playing so hard and so nicely, he immediately understood and identified his potential, and after the program he came to him and said that you should work hard, boy, you should definitely work hard, because you have a lot of potential in you, and you will be able to do wonders if you continue being in this field. Okay, so this was the first instance when people started recognizing the talents of Bismillah Khan. Then in 1938 what happened, you have to remember this year. In 1938 All India Radio was set up in Lucknow, an office, and then this resulted into getting Bismillah Khan a big break. Big break means a great opportunity that he got because of this All India Radio, and then often he used to play and people could hear him play through the radio. So when India in 1947, when it gained independence, Bismillah Khan was the first Indian to greet the nation with his Shehnai. So what an occasion to play for the country on the day when it got freedom from the Britishers. And it was the same day when he played from the Red Fort, and the audience also included Mahatma Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru. And on the same day, the famous speech of Jawaharlal Nehru, which is named as Tryst with Destiny, was delivered, and everything happened on the same day. Bismillah Khan playing the Shehnai and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru giving his famous speech which became famous as Tryst with Destiny. So you have to remember this name, Tryst with Destiny. It is considered to be one of the famous speeches by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and he had given it on the 15th of August from the Red Fort. Then Bismillah Khan, we come further in this chapter, and it is told to us that he has given many memorable performances. So not only in India but throughout the world he had travelled and given brilliant memorable performances all around the globe. So his first trip to abroad was to Afghanistan, where King Zahir Shah was so impressed by the performance that he gave him priceless gifts like Persian carpets and other souvenirs. Now what are souvenirs? Souvenirs are things that we give others for happy memories. So the king gave him some things, the names of those things are not mentioned in the chapter, but obviously something that would give happy memories of that particular visit to Afghanistan. So the king was not the only one who got fascinated by his music, but film director Vijay Bhatt was also so impressed that he actually named one movie after the instrument which Bismillah Khan played, which the name of the movie was Goonj Uthi Shehnai, and the song from this movie Dil Ka Khilona Hai Toot Gaya became so famous in that time that it became a nationwide chart buster, which is a song which gains a lot of popularity, and almost everybody is liking to listen to that particular song in that period. So despite this huge success in the celluloid world, what is a celluloid world? So the world of movies and films. So still he did not like it, and he just gave the music in two movies, which was Goonj Uthi Shehnai and Sanadhi Apanna, which was a Kannada movie. But after that he did not come to terms with this artificiality. He did not like the artificial environment of the film world, and then that is why he did not continue in this particular field. And then gradually after this, the awards and recognitions started coming one after the other. Thick and fast means one after the other. And then Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to be invited to perform at the prestigious Lincoln Center Hall. So this is one of the very famous auditoriums around the world, and which is called the Lincoln Center Hall in America, and he was called to perform there. Then he took part in the various fairs called the Cannes Art Festival, the Osaka Trade Fair, the World Exposition in Montreal. So all these places he visited, and he gave his amazing performances, and people actually enjoyed listening to him because whatever he played was played through his heart, through his soul, and everybody could feel the warmth through his music. And then there is a place in Tehran where an auditorium is named after Ustad Bismillah Khan, and the name of the auditorium is Tahar Mausique Ustad Bismillah Khan. Okay, so this was the name of the auditorium in Tehran, which was named after him. And then various national awards that are given in India, the nation. And then to name a few, they were Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan, and then finally in 2001 he got the prestigious Bharat Ratna award, which is the highest civilian award. What is a civilian award? An award that a civilian can get. Civilian, people like you and me. So the highest civilian award in India is the Bharat Ratna, and he was coveted by this award. After that, then he said that all I would like to say is teach your children music. So he said that people should definitely go after learning Hindustani classical music, because all over the world people have started recognizing this, and people have started understanding how beautiful and vast and rich Indian classical music is. And if the people in India themselves are not aware of it, then what's the point? And that is why people should consider learning Hindustani classical music and should encourage the other children as well. So in spite of having traveled all over the world, Bismillah Khan used to always say that Banaras and Dumrao, they remain with him forever. So wherever he go, wherever he must have visited throughout the world, he never ever forgot Dumrao and Banaras. So whenever he used to go out, he immediately wanted to come back to India and go to his native place. He loved that place so much. Once a student also told him that, Khan Sahab, please you come to United States of America, because I'm building a school dedicated to Shehnai, and I'll build temples for you which are similar where you have been practicing. So he said that, okay, fine, you will construct all the things and you will make a similar place for me in the USA, but can you bring river Ganga as well? So to this boy was speechless, and then he never left his country, and he said that whenever I am in a foreign country, I immediately want to come back to my own country. And then he said, once I had been asked that by Shekhar Gupta. Here you can see the excerpt of the interview that was taken by Shekhar Gupta, and he asked that, Pandit Ustad ji, you have you ever been thinking of going to Pakistan with your family? He said, oh God forbid, please don't even talk like that. I can never even think or imagine of leaving India and going to any other country. So I can say namaskar to a Pakistani, I can say assalamu alaikum to Indians, and I can just laugh it out, because I seriously don't consider that religion hardly plays any role. If you are true to your country, it doesn't matter that you are a Hindu or a Muslim. Ultimately what matters is your love for your country, and I love my country so much that I cannot even think of leaving it for a second. And then he came back to Banaras, and then Ustad Bismillah Khan's life is a perfect example of rich cultural heritage of India, one that effortlessly accepts that a devout Muslim like him can very naturally play the Shehnai every morning at Kashi Vishwanath temple. And he said that as I told you, that religion actually doesn't matter if your love for the country is immense. And same thing happened with Ustad Bismillah Khan. Even if he was a Muslim, he did not mind playing at Kashi Vishwanath temple every morning. And he said that these things are barriers that actually pull people back. Religion should be considered as a strengthening instrument, and not an instrument which hinders your progress as a human being. And he kept playing till he died, and he always believed in giving his 100% to his love for Shehnai. And everybody still enjoys to listen to the music that Ustad Bismillah Khan has given to us, and it's a heritage that we have to nourish. So I hope you have understood this chapter, and if you have any doubts, any word that you have not understood, you may put it in the comment section and I will clear your doubts. Till then, take care.